Good day. You are welcome to the week 2 class. Having discussed about the course link and introduction and also the course outline in line with the reading materials during our week 1 introductory class. The content of our week 2 class, which is Introduction to Artificial Intelligence, is the meaning of AI, history of AI, goals of AI. Also, we'll be talking about the artificial intelligence technique. From there, we move to types of artificial intelligence in line with the branches and application of artificial intelligence. And lastly, we'll discuss about the benefit and risk, talking in terms of the advantages and disadvantages. The learning objectives for this class is for the student to understand the meaning of AI, also to have an insight into the history of AI and understand the goals of AI with the techniques. We also to examine the types, the branches and application of AI. And lastly, to appraise the benefits and risk of AI. Okay, the first slide for this class today is the meaning of artificial intelligence. We all know from the word artificial intelligence, which can be divided into two. We have artificial and we have intelligence. When we are talking about artificial, we are talking about things that are made by people, and when we are talking about intelligence, we are talking about the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. So what is AI? AI is a branch of science that deals with helping machines in finding solutions to complex problems in a more human-like manner, which generally involves borrowing the characteristics from human intelligence and applying them as algorithms in a computer-friendly way. It is also a more or less flexible or an efficient approach that can be taken depending on the requirement established, depending on the rules that have been given to the computer, which influences how artificial the intelligent behavior appears. We can say, or generally, AI is associated with computer science, but it has many important links with other fields such as mathematics, statistics, psychology, biology, and philosophy, and many others. With the ability to combine the knowledge from all these fields, will ultimately benefit the progress in the quest of creating an intelligent artificial being. It is also concerned with the design of intelligence in an artificial device. And that was why it was coined by McCarthy in 1956 with two ideas in the definition. One, intelligence, and two, artificial device. And if I may ask, and for discussion in this class, what is intelligence? Okay, is it that which characterize human, or is there an absolute standard of judgment? But in line with computer system, accordingly, there are two possibilities. A system with intelligence is expected to behave as intelligently as a human. A system with intelligence is expected to behave in the best possible manner. Also, what type of behavior are we talking about? Are we looking at the thought process or the reasonability of the system? Or are we only interested in the final manifestation of the system in terms of its action? Okay, having defined artificial intelligence in this class, we all know that in line with whenever a machine completes a task based on a set of stipulated rules that solve problem, that is algorithm, such that machine is such that that act is seen as intelligent. Various researchers have different scopes and view of artificial intelligence. And at the end of this class, you also will also have, or you had your own scope or your own view of artificial intelligence. And from their own scope, you have been able to divide it into four. That is, some are seeing AI about designing system that are as intelligent as human, while others are viewing it from the idea of the Turing test, and also others are viewing it from the logic and law of thoughts. And lastly, others are seeing it as a study of rational agents. The next on our slide is history of artificial intelligence. AI has been an aspiration and goal of computer science pioneers since the early 1950s and has evolved incredibly in the 21st century. And that could be discussed under the generations of computer, where we know the fifth generation of computer is expected to use or uses artificial intelligence. And that gives the idea of a machine that thinks, which can be dated back to ancient Greece. But since the advent of electronic computing, important dates, events, and milestones in the evolution of artificial intelligence will be discussed under this slide, the history of artificial intelligence. And I will be breaking it down into years as expected. In 1950, Alan Turing publishes a book known as Computing Machinery and Intelligence. And in that paper, Turing was famous for breaking the Nazis' Enigma code during the World War II. And that proposes to answer the question, can machine think? And it further introduces the Turing test in determining if a computer can demonstrate that same intelligence or the result of the same intelligence as human. The value of the Turing test has been debated ever since. And that was what I did in the last class too, that you have to search about Turing test for all the class members to also debate on. In 1956, John McCarthy coins the term artificial intelligence at the first ever AI conference, and that was at Dartmouth College. McCarthy later went on in inventing the Lisp language, which we'll be discussing or look into at the end later in this course. And later that year, Allen Newell, J.C. Sean, and Albert Simon created the Logic Theories, and that was the first ever running AI software program. So if you are being asked what was the first ever running AI software program, that's the Logic Theories. In 1967, Frank Rosenblatt built the Mach 1 perceptron, the first computer based on a neural network that learned through trial and error. And a year later, Marvin Minsky and Simon Papert published a book titled Perceptron, which became both the landmark work on neural network and, at least for a while, an argument against the future neural network research project, which some of you can also look into if you are looking to for your projects as a final year student. In 1980s, the neural network, which uses a back propagation algorithm, has the ability to train itself to become widely used in AI application. And in 1997, the IBM Deep Blue beat the then world chess champion, and that's Gary, in a chess match and also in a rematch. You can see how wonderful AI has turned into. 2011, IBM also beat champion Ken and Brand Rutter at Jeopardy. And in 2015, Beidou supercomputer uses a special kind of deep neural network that is called convolutional neural network to identify and categorize images with a higher rate of accuracy than that of an average human. And in 2016, the DeepMind AlphaGo program, which was powered by a deep neural network, beat Lee, the world champion Go player, in a five-game match. The victory was significant given the huge number of possible moves as the game progresses, over 14.5 trillion moves just 4 moves. And later, Google purchased the DeepMind for a reported 400 million US dollar. And let's move to 2023, which is a rise in large language model or LLM. such as ChatGPT that can create an enormous change in performance of AI and its potential to drive enterprise value. With these new generative AI practices, deep learning models can be pre-trained on vast amounts of raw and unlabeled data. And we can see that we have most historians that have been traced back in solving or looking into various problems and symbolic methods when it comes to artificial intelligence. Okay, after the history of artificial intelligence, we are to discuss the goals of artificial intelligence. The main goals of artificial intelligence are one, to imitate the human intelligence, to mimic human intelligence. And while doing that, to be able to solve high skill tasks which are knowledge intensive. Also, number three, to intelligently link between action and insight, deep insight into issues, into tasks. Also, to design a machine or a device that can perform jobs that required human knowledge. And lastly, to have a system that exhibits intelligent behavior and also learn new things by themselves. So we are to discuss about the artificial intelligence technique. Artificial intelligence research during the last 3 decades has concluded that intelligence requires knowledge. To compensate the overwhelming quality, the knowledge process with less desirable properties. There is a need for us to understand that in the technique of AI, the first thing is that it is huge. It is difficult to characterize correctly when talking about the overwhelming quality. It is constantly changing, and it differs from data by being organized in a way that corresponds to its application, and it is complicated. And that is why an AI technique is a method that exploits the knowledge that is represented so that one, the knowledge captures generalizations that share properties which are grouped together rather than being allowed with separate representation. And two, it can be understood by people who must provide it. Even though for many programs their bulk of their data comes automatically from reading. Also in many AI domains, how the people understand the same people which must supply the knowledge to a program, which can be easily modified in correcting errors and reflects changes in real condition. It can be widely used even if it is incomplete or inaccurate. Those are the techniques that we are looking forward to. And it can be used in helping to overcome its own sheer bulk by helping to narrow the range of possibilities that must be usually or that can be usually considered. In order to characterize an AI technique, we are to look at the game that we play when we were younger, and that's the OXO game. We need to do that in this class where we use series of different approaches in playing the game. Okay, let me call on one student to join me on the board to do this. Now, these programs, they increase in complexity, their use of generalization, the clarity of their knowledge, and the extensibility of their approach. And in this way, they move towards being representation of AI techniques. This is where the bulk of our class will be, or bulk of our discussion will be, talking about the types of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can be divided into various types, but there are main two types of categorization, which are based on capabilities and also based on functionalities. And we are talking of capabilities, we are talking about type 1 artificial intelligence, and we are talking about based on functionality, we are talking about type 2 artificial intelligence. Now, let's talk about type 1, which is based on capabilities. We have the first one, which is narrow AI, and narrow AI can also be called weak AI, which is a type of AI that have the ability to perform a dedicated task with intelligence. And the most common and currently available AI is narrow AI in the world of artificial intelligence. Narrow AI cannot perform beyond its field or limitation, as it is only trained for one specific task, and that is why it's been termed weak AI, because it can fail in unpredicted ways if it goes beyond its limit. We have the Apple series as a good example of narrow AI, but it operates within a limited predefined range of function. Also, the IBM Watson supercomputer also can be classified as a narrow AI, as it uses an expert system approach combined with machine learning and natural language processing. Some other examples of narrow AI are playing chess, purchasing suggestion on e-customer site, self-driving cars, speech recognition, and image recognition. If you are to discuss the second one, which is what, let me go to general AI. General AI is a type of intelligence which could perform an intellectual task with efficiency like human. The idea behind the general AI is to make a system which could be smarter and think like human by its own. Currently, there is no such system. We can Google that, and which that can come under general AI and that can perform any tasks as perfect as human. The researchers are now focused on developing machines with general AI, and as systems with general AI are still under research, it will take a lot of efforts or deep knowledge in developing that. And we have the strong AI, which is also known as the super AI. Super AI is a level of intelligence of system at which machine could surpass human intelligence and that can perform any task better than human with cognitive properties, which is an outcome of general um, general AI. Most of the characteristics of strong AI or super AI include the ability to think, to ability to resolve, ability to solve a puzzle, to make judgments, to plan, to learn, and communicate by its own. So the super AI is an hypothetical concept of artificial intelligence, and development of such system in real life is still world changing task. Based on what we've discussed, we are talking about narrow AI, that means dedicated for one task, general AI, perform like human, and super AI, that's intelligent than human. Okay, then if you are to go by the type 2 artificial intelligence, which is based on functionality, we have the reactive machines that are purely reactive machines are the most basic types of artificial intelligence. Such AI systems do not store memories or past experiences for future actions. And these machines only focus on current scenario and react on it as per possible best action. The IBM Deep Blue system we discuss under the history of artificial intelligence is an example of reactive machine. The Google's AlphaGo is also an example of reactive machines. Then we have the limited memory. The limited memory machines can store past experiences or some data for a short period of time, and this machine can use store data for a limited time period only. Self-driving cars are one of the best example of limited memory system, because these cars can store recent speed of nearby cars, the distance of other cars, the speed limit, and other information to navigate the road. We have the theory of mind. Don't forget um, under the introductory class, we discussed about the various researcher view about AI, where we have the theory and law of thoughts. Okay, then theory of mind. AI should understand the human emotions. People should understand the belief and be able to interact socially like human. this type of AI machine are still undeveloped. I learned one was developed to, that is, a machine was developed to talk to, based on emotions. That is, somebody said is getting married to a robot. But researchers are making lot of efforts and improvement for developing such AI machines. Then we have the self-awareness, which is the last type 2 types of artificial intelligence. The self-awareness AI is the future of artificial intelligence. These machines will be super intelligent and will have their own consciousness, their own sentiments, and self-awareness. This machine will be smarter than human being. Self-awareness AI does not exist in reality, but is still an hypothetical concept, and we are all looking forward to that. We move forward to the branches of AI, and we have a list of branches of AI that has been listed. However, some of the branches are still missing because it has not been identified either by me or by my source. But some of these may be regarded as concepts or topics rather than a full branch or full branches. The first thing on the slide is logical AI. In general, the facts of the specific situation in which it must act and its goals are all represented by sentences or of some mathematical logical language. And the program decide what to do by inferring that certain actions are appropriate for achieving its goals. Also, we have the search, and that is where artificial intelligence programs of sometimes examine large number of possibilities. For example, the moves in a chess game, and also the conclusion or inference by a theorem proving program. Discoveries are frequently made about how to do this more efficiently in various domains. We also have the pattern recognition. When a program makes observation of some kind, it is often planned to compare what it sees with a pattern. For example, a vision program may try to match a pattern of eyes and a nose in a scene in order to find a face. And that's more about a more complex. There are also more complex patterns that are like a natural language test, a chess position, or in the history of some event. So this more complex pattern requires quite different method than the simple pattern that have been studied the most. All these are branches of artificial intelligence that we're just discussing for us to have an idea. And like I said earlier on, the concept goes beyond the branch because it can actually be a field on its own. Then we have the representation, where languages of mathematical logic are used to represent the facts about the world. We have inference, where others can be inferred from some fact. Mathematical logical deduction is sufficient for some purpose, but there are some new method of non-monotonic inferences that have been added to the logic since the 1970s. The simplest kind of non-monotonic reasoning is the default reasoning, in which a conclusion is to be inferred by default, but the conclusion can be withdrawn if there is an evidence to the divergent. For example, when we hear of a bird, we infer that it can fly, but the conclusion can be reversed when we hear that it's a penguin. It is the possibility that a conclusion may have to be withdrawn that constitutes the non-monotonic character of the reasoning. So also the normal logical reasoning is monotonic, in that the set of complete conclusion can be drawn from a set of premises. For example, monotonic increases function of the premises, and we have some circumstances, which is another form of monotonic reasoning. Okay, we talk about the common sense knowledge and reasoning. This is the area in which AI is farthest from human level, in spite of the fact that it has been an active research area ever since 1950s. But there has been considerable progress in developing system of monotonic reasoning and theories of action, though yet more ideas are needed in these aspects. We also have the learning from experience. There are some rules expressed in logic for learning. Programs can only learn what facts or behavior their formalism can represent. And unfortunately, learning systems are almost all based on very limited abilities to represent information. Then we have planning. Planning starts with the general fact about the world, especially fact about the effect of action, fact about the particular situation or a statement of a goal. From this, planning programs generate a strategy in achieving the goal. And in the most common cases, the strategy is just a sequence of action. Where we have epistemology, and that's the study of the kind of knowledge that are required for solving problems in the world. We also have ontology, which is the study of the kind of things that exist. In AI, the program and sentences deal with various kinds of objects, and we study these kinds are or what their basic property are. Ontology assume importance from the 1990s, and we have the heuristics. A heuristic is a way of trying to discover something or an idea embedded in a program. The term is used variously in artificial intelligence. The heuristic function are used in some approaches to search or to measure how far a node in a search tree seems to be from a goal. And the heuristic predicates that compare two nodes in a search tree to see if one is better than the other, and it constitutes an advance towards the goal or maybe more useful. Then lastly, we have the genetic programming. The genetic programming is an automated method for creating a working computer program from a high level problem statement of a problem, and it starts from a high level statement of what needs to be done and automatically creates a computer program to solve the problem. These are the branches of artificial intelligence. And like I said earlier on, it goes beyond that. It could have turned into a full branch or a concept, or rather a topic. You can pick any of these for you to um, do your paper research on. Okay, we talk about the application of AI, and in this, I'll just mention all this because, like I said in our introductory class, our review will review for this course. We also have to deal with application of AI, and that's why we will not be discussing this in depth because AI has application in all fields of human study, such as finance and economics, environmental, engineering, chemistry, computer science, biochemistry, microbiology, and so on. Some of the applications of AI are listed below. And by now, you should know that AI cut across all fields. Like we have the perception, where we can talk about machine vision, the speech understanding. We talk about the touch, sensation. We have robotics, which is part of our course outline, and I've told us that we might be doing something on that. We also have the natural language processing, where we understand the natural language, where we can do sentiment analysis, speech understanding, language generation. We have machine translation. Also, it can be applied for planning. We have expert system, we have machine learning, we have theorem proving, symbolic mathematics, game playing, customer services, recommendation engines, and automation. And these are areas that you are expected to look into if you are for your final year project, where you can explore as how AI can be applied to all these fields as expected. Lastly, we'll be talking about benefit and risk. That is, we are talking about the advantages and the disadvantages of artificial intelligence. And we'll be discussing some of the advantages and also some of the disadvantages. Firstly, we are to talk about the high accuracy with less error. AI machines are prone to less error, and they have high accuracy and they take their decision as per pre-experience of information they have already. The speed of AI, increased speed, is another aspect because of their very high speed and fast decision making. AI can beat a chess champion in the chess game. Also, they are reliable. AI machines are highly reliable and can perform the same action multiple times with high accuracy. Also, we have they are useful for risky area where AI machine can be helpful in situations such as defusing of a bomb, exploring the ocean floor, where to majorly where we are expected to employ a woman, where we are supposed to employ a woman that can be risky, then we make use of AI. That is, they are used for risky tasks or situations. Then we have the personal digital assistants, where AI can be very useful in providing digital assistance to the user, such as is being used in various e-commerce websites to show product as per customer requirement. Also, it can be useful as a public utility where AI such as self-driving car, which can make your journey safer and also hassle-free. We have the facial recognition for security purpose. We have the natural language processing to communicate to human with the human in human language, and so on and so forth. Also, in addition, its part of benefit is that it's cost saving and operational efficiency. It can improve productivity, it can improve customer services, it encourages flexible working style, it has a process governance, manpower saving. It also give advantages in terms of risk management, also in metadata analysis, and also moving focus away from repetitive, time consuming and rule-based tasks. It can also reallocate some save time and prioritize more complex and value-added tasks. All those are the benefits or perceived benefits or advantages of artificial intelligence. For every technology, there are also disadvantages, and this goes for artificial intelligence. Though being so advantageous technology still, it still has some disadvantages that we need to keep in our mind while creating an AI system. The first is very costly. The hardware and software requirement of AI are very costly as it requires a lot of maintenance to meet current world requirements. Also, it can think out of the box. Even if we are making smarter machines with AI, they still cannot work out of the box, as the robot will only do the work for which they are trained or they are programmed. They have no feelings or emotions. I'm still looking at how is it Elon Musk will be having the feeling with his female robot. AI machine can be an outstanding performer, but it still does not have the feeling, so it cannot make any kind of emotional attachment with woman, and may sometimes be harmful for users if the proper care is not taken. It also have part of the advantage is increased dependency of machine. With the increment of technology, people are getting more dependent on machines, and hence they are losing their mental capabilities. And that's where we discuss more towards the end of this class, talking about ChatGPT in academic environment. And like I said, there is no originality, no original creativity, as humans are so creative and can imagine some new ideas, but still AI machine cannot beat the power of human intelligence, and cannot be as creative, as imaginative as human. And that's why you shouldn't depend on AI in doing your tax. And in addition, we have conflict of interest or threat to independence. We also have the extinction of conventional jobs and tax, and also rise in income inequality and wealth inequality. But at present, the level of AI application um, has not been updated in response to changes in laws and regulations and policies. So frequent change may also affect the process, and lack of expertise on the part of those that are making use of it, and also resistance from existing workforce, because people are actually scared that AI will take off their job. So thank you very much. I believe this we've been able to discuss a lot in this class, and also in our physical class we'll discuss better. Thank you.